Hello everyone, Megan here and welcome back to my channel. This week's project will be this 1940s retro-inspired dress pattern by Simplicity with the number of 1777. First things first is obviously cutting out the pieces. The only piece that wasn't used was a different front piece meant for a different version of the garment. Once everything was cut, I then stay stitched around the neck hole and the front bodice piece. Starting with the front bodice pieces, I would take a marker and mark the pleats with a water-soluble pen and connect the dots. After connecting the dots, then I would stay stitch over the pleats twice. For the skirt front piece, I first made small dots in the fabric with a water-soluble pen and then proceeded to connect the dots and create the pleats needed. Once the pleats were completed, I then put the bodice front and skirt front right sides together and sewed that down. I first pinned the front panel on and sewed it into place. This piece was probably the hardest part of the project as it was difficult to maneuver through my machine, as you can tell. For the back bodice pieces, I first made lines with a water-soluble pen to indicate the darts needed. I then sewed up that line I created earlier and leaving the ends undone and tying them by hand. I also drew and sewed the darts needed for the back skirt pieces. Once all the darts were sewn, I then put the back bodice pieces and the back skirt pieces right side together, and then sewed that down. Then I pinned and sewed the front and back pieces with right sides together. I then took the back facing and the bodice front middle panel and sewed them together. Once sewed, I then hemmed them with 1/4 of an inch. I then pinned and sewed the shoulder seams. With right sides together, I took the middle panel lining and pinned it across the neckline. I then sewed it together, followed by top stitching it in place. I then pinned and sewed the back seam until the notch that indicated to stop sewing. To put the zipper in, I first ironed the zipper. I still struggle with zippers, so all I did was follow the instructions provided. The zipper was put in, I did a fitting after that to see how it was gonna fit, and it ended up being a little too big. I think there was about an inch on both sides, so instead of seam ripping the zipper out and doing that all over again, I just ended up doing a French seam on both side seams. I then hand sewed tacking stitches on certain points of the lining to keep it in place. The sleeves also have darts, so I just took another water-soluble pen and marked the dots and traced the lines that were made from it and then sewed it in place. The sleeves are supposed to be gathered, so I did 2 lines of stitching, just basting stitches, so that I could pull the 2 strings to gather the top. Once the sleeve was gathered, I then put the sleeve in the armhole and sewed it with right sides together. For the hem, I quickly ironed and sewed it at 1/2 of an inch since I knew that I was going to hand sew the remaining hem at a full inch. I also followed the same steps for the armholes too. I then slip stitched the remaining of the hem, and I of course have my little helper here. And here's the final product.